So greetings dear learner, my name is Steffi Thomas and I am a student teacher pursuing Bachelor's of Education from the Bhopal School of Social Sciences. Now in the previous session we have discovered that we have studied or discovered types of towns. Now further, as I have already said that in today's session we are going to explore the types of commercial as well as trading towns. Now in your textbooks it is mentioned only 3 types of towns when you are talking about commercial and trading towns. Now as you can see, the first type of town is the Hampi. Now Hampi is termed as capital as well as commercial and a cultural town. Now when you talk about Hampi, it is a town which is resided on the banks of river Tungabhadra, and this beautiful river Tungabhadra is been situated in Karnataka. Now it was the town which was ruled by the Vijayanagar Empire and it was very well fortified city. Now what do you understand by the term well fortified? Now when you talk about well fortified, it is a type of city or a type of town which is being protected from 3 sides. Now why I am saying that this beautiful city Hampi which is being well fortified city, because Hampi was being protected from 3 sides. Now 2 sides it was being protected from rivers and from one side it was being protected from mountains. Now this beautiful town consists of beautiful temples. Now when you talk about beautiful temples, the next thing I have written in bracket, which is trade equals to money. Why I have written that trade equals to money? Because when beautiful temples or beautiful sculptures are being engraved inside these temples, basically what do we require? We require manpower. Now when manpower comes into action, what's the next thing that comes into our mind? It is, of course, we need to pay that manpower in order to build beautiful sculptures for those temples. So that is why I had written trade equals to money. Now as I said that it is a well fortified city, so the next point I had also backed it up by saying that it is surrounded by river and mountains. So as I said that it is surrounded by rivers and mountains, and these rivers and mountains are being there for both the 3 sides of Hampi. Okay. Now let's cover the next point, that as it is said that it is an important center of trade for cotton as well as spices. Okay. Now this was the major thing by which Hampi was very famous, because cotton and spices were 2 types of trade which were most popular, and it was traded from which town? It was traded from Hampi. Now come on to the next point, which is European merchants were the most common traders, because European merchants usually used to trade with Hampi. Now apart from European merchants, who all were the traders who used to trade with Hampi? They were the Persia, Arabia, Myanmar, China and the islands in the Indian Ocean. Now when you talk about Hampi, there is one more thing that I had missed out, which is the Mahanavami Dibba. Now Mahanavami Dibba is a kind of elevated platform which was being constructed in order to place or have a seating of the rulers or the kings in order to watch festivals of Mahanavami. And how did we discover this platform? We discovered this platform with the help of our researchers, which we call as archaeologists. And archaeologists, when they were studying or when they were digging about Hampi, they discovered this type of elevated platform, and this platform was called as Mahanavami Dibba. Now why what led to the dismantling of Hampi? We can say that it was the Battle of Talikota, and with the Battle of Talikota, the town Hampi lost its importance. Now, in the Battle of Talikota, you all need to make sure that you remember that this Battle of Talikota was being fought between Krishna Deva Raya and Deccan Sultan. Okay. Now, let us see this. As you can see that this was the elevated platform. As you can see now, this is where the places where all the kings and the queen used to reside, and they used to watch the festivals of Mahanavami Dibba. Now, let us explore the map here, where we can easily locate that Hampi is situated here and it is very close to the port, and that is why Hampi is called as commercial and trading town. Now, let us see the second type of commercial and trading town, which is the Masulipatanam. Now, when you talk about Masulipatanam, it is also renamed as Machlipatanam. Now, what's the new name of Machlipatanam? The new name of Machlipatanam is Masulipatanam, and Masulipatanam is situated on the banks of river Krishna, which is being situated in Andhra Pradesh. Now, when you talk about Masulipatanam or Machlipatanam, it is which type of town? It is a commercial as well as a port town. Now, when you talk about a port town, why it is called as a port town? Because due to its nearness of the port. Now, this type of town is very near to the port, and that is why these types of town are termed as port town. Now, what type of traders usually trade in Masulipatanam? They were the French, the English and the Dutch. Now, always remember, when you are referring to certain kind of rulers, it is always mandatory to apply that one article, which is the. Do not simply write French, English and Dutch. You should always mention the before these rulers or the traders. Okay. Now, let's see the next point. What was the main port of Masulipatanam? It was the kingdom of Golconda. Now, why did Masulipatanam or Machlipatanam was famous? What kind of trade usually happens in Machlipatanam or Masulipatanam? It was the production house for chins and kalamkari work. Now, I am going to explain further about kalamkari and chins, but let us explore that what were the major trading center. It was kalamkari textile. Now, when you talk about kalamkari textile, the word kalamkari has two words in it. The first word is kalam and the second word is kari. The first word kalam means pen and kari means work. Now, this kalamkari work was usually done with the help of bamboo pens, and these bamboo pens were dipped into naturally extracted juices from fruits or leaves, and then they were used to be painted on cotton textiles and given beautiful designs and shapes. Now, what remarked as the by which the town lost its importance? It is due to the emergence of major ports, which is Bombay, Calcutta, Madras, and that is why the town Masulipatanam lost its importance. And let us cover and see how and where this town is being situated. Can you mark that Masulipatanam is situated here, and why it is called as a port town? Because it is nearly or on the Bay of Bengal and it is very near to the port. That is why it is called as commercial as well as a port town. Now, this is chintz, as you can see, and it was highly in demand by the English. Okay, and this is kalamkari, as you can see, and this is a very beautiful work done by the Masulipatanam people. You can see the bamboo pen. Okay. Now, let us cover the last topic and the last commercial town, which is the Surat, which is still now famous. And Surat is a commercial town which was situated on the rivers of Tapti, which is in Gujarat. Now let us cover the next point. It is one of the important ports and trading town, and it is famous for what? It is famous for its cotton, textiles, especially the zari borders. Now when you talk about the exporters who usually used to export in Surat, what were they? They were the West Asia and the Europe. Now there's one thing that usually that happened when you talk about Surat, that the English came there and they set it up the post for Surat in the year 1612. Now what and how did the traders trade? We are going to explore it deeper, but let us understand what were the traders who usually used to trade in Surat. They were the Dutch, the English and the French. Now ship sails from Mecca here to Hajj pilgrims. Now all the Hajj pilgrims means all the Muslim people who used to be very spiritual. They used to travel to Mecca to fulfill their spiritual needs from which port? From the port of Surat. Now Portuguese merchants issued passes or cartas to the local ships. Now when the English set up their post in 1612, along with the English there were another trader who was highly in demand in Surat, which were the Portuguese. Now when the Portuguese used to trade, they usually trade with the help of passes and cartas. So cartas and passes were being introduced by whom? They were introduced by the Portuguese traders, or can say Portuguese merchants in Surat. Now this enjoyed great prosperity during the 16th and the 18th century. And why Surat is been traded, or Surat is been famous for? It is famous for its diamonds, because it is termed as center of diamonds. So students, we today have learned about 3 types of commercial and trading towns. So students, thank you for listening, and I hope that I was able to make you all learn this. Thank you and keep learning.